Magomed Ankalaev said that Dana White told him if it's a good fight against Alexander Rakic, he'll get a title shot. So winning isn't enough. It needs to be a good fight. One take on this is Dana White and the UFC are dangerously close to outright rigging fights. They're essentially dictating game plans to fighters they don't like. What a joke this sport has become. Magomed has barely ever been in a boring fight, but since he isn't Yuri, he's somehow penalized. Yeah, I get the sense that they don't like Magomed Ankalaev. As far as dictating game plans, well, Dana White telling you that's gonna, at the very least, make you think about altering your game plan for the fight. It sort of reminds me of that famous Dana White rant.
That's fucking illegal.
Who he was talking about in that clip was Gary Shaw, the promoter of Elite XC, and Dana said that Gary paid Seth Petrozelli to not take the fight to the ground against Kimbo Slice, so he's incentivizing a fighter to fight a certain way, and that influences how a fight goes. It may not be the exact same thing that's going on here, but Ankalaev might have a certain game plan. He thinks maybe he has a 95% chance of winning against Rakic, but he thinks Dana White would consider that not a good fight, not an entertaining fight, and not fighting in a way that's going to get him a title shot, so he decides to switch up to a more exciting game plan to please Dana. But now the odds of winning in his mind are like 50-50. It's a coin flip, and maybe he gets knocked out. So in a sense, you're being incentivized to fight a certain way, and that would influence how the fight goes. But it's an interesting topic. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. I don't really see Ankalaev being a boring fighter though. He's had 6 of 10 wins by stoppage. He's knocking guys out. He's coming off a knockout victory. I guess Dana hated the fight with Jan, which ended in a draw and caused nobody to win the vacant title. And Ankalaev immediately talked about the judges being rigged and complaining about the UFC. So I assume after that moment, Dana has had a bit of disdain towards him, and maybe he doesn't want to give him an opportunity to possibly dethrone one of their more popular and marketable champions in Alex Pereira. Sam Alvey says he didn't opt out of the UFC antitrust lawsuit because he didn't know that it was going on. It's the first time he heard about it. He will receive settlement money, even though he sides with the UFC. UFC matchmakers had a hard time finding an opponent for Mauricio Rufy. They finally found one in Charlie Campbell for UFC 309, but now he's out of that fight, so they got to find Rufy a new opponent on a couple weeks' notice, which will be quite tough.
Alex Topuria, Guram Kutateladze. Da championi Ilya Topuria. შეგედაცა ხელები აწეული შაბათს გელოდებით შენ გენაცვლება. გეხოთო. ეს არის ძმო, ეს არის სიცოცხლე, ეს არის ცხოვრება.
Clothing brand, they're doing a product launch on Tuesday of tracksuits. Some of the models they're using are Kamaru Usman, Bilal Muhammad, and Jared Gordon. Ikram Aliskerov returning to action February 1st. Opponent to be determined. He says he's hungry and motivated after a long break. He fought in June and got knocked out by Robert Whittaker. February 1st is going to be a UFC Fight Night card at the Kingdom Arena in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Dan Ige on the main card this Saturday versus Lerone Murphy. This is a fight he took on like 3 months notice, which is a lot better than 3 hours notice he had for his last fight against Diego Lopez. But it was a big confidence booster hanging in with the number 3 guy on like 3 hours notice. He won the last round, and if it was a 5-round fight, he had a pretty good chance of winning it.
My fighter pick of the day, let's lock in with Lerone Murphy over Dan Ige. I believe that Lerone Murphy being undefeated and just being on the streak right now, he's going to continue down that road of just being a winner. Dan Ige ain't no joke. I believe that Dan Ige going to give him a lot of problems in the beginning of the round, but I believe that Lerone Murphy is going to be able to find out a way on just how to win. So with that being said, I believe it's going to be a split decision with Lerone Murphy getting his hand raised.
Lerone Murphy is a favorite on the main card, as is Chimaev, Ankalaev, and Magomedov. Adesanya is picking a couple underdogs. Max Holloway, he thinks he's going to shine in rounds 4 and 5. And Robert Whittaker, he thinks he's going to survive an early storm from Khamzat Chimaev and pick up a round 4 victory. Jake Hadley's calling Cameron Smotherman shit, but he lost him over the weekend. Cam shit, can't lie, he won't last 2 minutes in the UFC. The opponent change messed me up, but let's bet how many fights your boy has in the UFC. I bet he goes 0-3 now. You took the fight because you thought you're going to win it. Don't start with excuses now. It makes you look even worse. Even if I don't win another fight till the day I die, I'll always still be able to say I beat you. 3 days notice, flight from Saudi Arabia, 17 pounds in 3 days, and not in camp, barely training. If he's shit, how did he 30-26 you? Cope harder. Hadley got cut by the UFC after the loss. He wants to fight in Brave against another flyweight who's no longer welcome in the UFC, Muhammad Makayev. Alex Pereira is in Mexico right now.
Salve, salve galera, aqui no México. Estamos numa disputa aí, ó, Alex, versus Fórmula 1. Aí, pô, top demais aqui, gigante. A equipe toda aí, hoje o dia todo de filmar, hein? Chama.
The first time I saw Walt since the fight, it was good to see him. Still respect. Always respect. There's nothing personal. It's only business.
Okay. You know what? Let's just agree to disagree, my friend.
Okay.
So how do you prevent guys from getting friend zoned?
A lot of the time men friend zone themselves, and how they friend zone themselves is they desexualize themselves. Yeah, they desexualize themselves, and what?
And now he has to overcome another obstacle. So I'm going to support him. I'm going to lift him up, and I'm going to be there for him. Because I see the way he fights. I see the way that he works. And I know who he is as a person, and that's all I have to say to address him.
Pivotal middleweight matchup sets the stage for 2 featherweight greats in the main event, battling it out for the coveted UFC title.
I am so fired up for this fight.
All I gotta say, I'm him. I'm him, guys. He is running away. Sign the contract.
It all goes down on October 26th, when the Octagon returns to Abu Dhabi for UFC 308.
But now the road to featherweight gold goes through Ilia Topuria.